making it. It's so bad that they've called for cradle-to-cradle cities.
Bill invited our film crew to join him in Huangbai to see firsthand how cradle-to-cradle translates to China. Though it doesn't look high-tech, this village may be the future for rural China.
This is a straw bale house, and that is a straw bale.
The new homes are constructed from materials that require little or no fossil fuels to make and are biodegradable and recyclable.
And right next to it is a block wall that's made out of dirt, and the dirt came from right down there.
Rather than building with traditional clay bricks fired by coal, which consumes a lot of energy, they're making bricks out of compressed dirt, which are stacked and covered in plaster to make the walls.
Put in a press, squeeze it, without using coal or firing it, or using soil that is used for farming, so you don't burn your coal and you don't lose your farm fields. It's just pressed earth from this place. Windows are all looking...
The entire village is designed to save energy. The homes are oriented at a 15-degree angle to break up the cold winter winds and maximize their daily exposure to the sun.
So this is the first time Chinese peasants have been given a solar system that is connected to the utility grid.
Bill believes that China will set the standard for solar power and finally make it affordable to a mass market.
The idea that China will be the place in the world which brings the cost of solar energy down, so the rest of the world can use solar energy, because manufacturing costs in China could collapse the price of doing these kinds of things.
Of course, China today is mired in ecological problems and is far behind the West by any environmental standards. But Chinese officials at the highest level of government are listening to Bill. And if things go well in this trial village, China, of all places, could become a new model of sustainable development.
Three-story building. It signals a strategy of hope, because if everyone in rural China lived like this, they would cut their consumption of coal and firewood in half. Right now, we have to find a way to speak about the future in the present tense. So can we live in the future as quickly as possible in ways that allow us to tell our children that we realize the problems that we're facing and that we're doing something about them.
But when I listen to you, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. We're a couple hours south of Washington, D.C., but up the road, not a lot of people know who you are, yet 10,000 miles away in Beijing, your ideas are being translated into Chinese and implemented and quoted by the leadership in China.
The Chinese see themselves in crisis. We are not in crisis in this country. We don't have a crisis mentality. We're beginning to start to have a crisis mentality.
You get to be king for a day, king of the United States. What's the one thing you would do to advance your agenda?
I would speak to all the children. I would put out a call to the young people. It's the young people who will do this. It's the next generation. When children hear cradle to cradle, they get it immediately. They just think, well, isn't that the way the world is? And then they're surprised to find out that we would make poison things that destroy the planet. Why would we create a system that doesn't give them hope?
Bill's right. Most kids understand that this is not their parents' energy crisis, but something much more profound. The problem is, the next generation won't be in power for another decade or two, and that just might be too late. We already have the alternative fuels that could make a big difference right now in how much oil we consume, how much we heat up the planet, how dependent we are on nasty governments for our energy supplies, and how competitive our companies will be in green technologies, that burgeoning growth industry for the 21st century. With just a little leadership from Washington and smart subsidies and regulations consistently applied, we could make plug-in hybrids, wind, ethanol, and solar so much more competitive with oil right now, today. But it takes a new way of thinking, an understanding that being green is no longer some high-minded, vaguely unpatriotic hobby for tree-hugging, girly men. Living, thinking, and acting green is the most geostrategic, tough-minded, and patriotic thing we can do today. Green, my fellow citizens, is the new red, white, and blue.
Well, let's go over by the White House, see if we can get the president to take a spin. There's the White House right over there. Be great if he got rid of his limousine and had an armor-plated, solar-powered car. The world would be a better place. We're from the energy thing.
No, not in this area. You don't film. Get it out of here. You don't have permission to be over here.
Okay.